Hi, Vision Community, it's Dan here. And today with us, we have Reza Sazesh of Brillious Systems. Did I get that right? Brillious Systems, not Brilliant Systems?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Systems.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's perfect.
Okay, great. This one, folks, is really interesting. I'll give you a really quick intro to Reza's story here. But right at the beginning of this sort of whole outbreak, Reza sort of had a project that was happening in the background, and within the space of a few weeks, he's completely developed a new app in a really interesting space. So we'll get to that in a second. But I think a lot of us obviously have downtime at the moment. I myself personally know I come up with an idea for an app, maybe sometimes once a week, sometimes once every couple of months, but they never go any further than an idea, and doubt creeps in and I think, oh, I'm too busy and it'll never work or whatever. But Reza has got a great story about how he's created and launched an app in just a matter of weeks. So Reza, welcome. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Mate, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your area of expertise and Brillious Systems and sort of what you do and what Brillious Systems does.
Yeah, so look, the way it all started, look, I was actually in the field of hospitality. I studied industrial design, but I sort of got really, I started enjoying doing hospitality, and then I sort of progressed into it. And I was working for a company. I was like managing like 8 stores, and I was having fun doing it. And basically, I've done some web development before, did make some websites before, sort of started getting it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was like but I was just sort of looking things up. And while I was working at my job in hospitality, I realized a lot of the stuff that we were doing were very manual, a lot of just double entries. You had to put a lot of stuff like that could be just done with a click of a button, but we didn't have the systems in place. So on my spare times, I just started to look up how to do this stuff, sort of learn coding. And then, so I just started to make a system that just made everything more organized for the company I was working with. And it just I realized that I really enjoy doing that. And, it just became something that I really like doing, and just solving a problem. And I saw the problem and then solving it with the software. And that's time that I invested then in my own work as an area manager sort of saved so much time for me, not just for me, but all my colleagues. So all the stores, all the area managers, everyone in the operations, it was saving time. So I thought that was so cool, that you could do something like that. So I just decided to pursue that, just decided to go on and just make more things and just trial, error, see what works, see what doesn't work. But yeah, and that's how I came up with Noves, which we talked about. And I was working on that for a year, sort of trialing things, just sort of developing products. And then towards January was when I started Woofly. Yeah.
Reza, just to touch on that really quickly. So Noves is hospitality related software. Is that right?
Yeah, so primarily Noves is targeted for hospitality, but it has use case in retail. You can use it in many other businesses, but it first started as a productivity tool. Mm-hmm. And then I decided that, okay, I've done work in hospitality. What are the pain points and how I can solve it? And one of the biggest pain points that we had was not having visibility on the profitability, or having it too late for me to take action. So the way when I started working on Noves, my aim was to give visibility and transparency into a business profitability live, like on the go, with you on your phone, anywhere you are, and everything is calculated down to the minute, so you can take actions when you see there is something wrong. Yes.
And a big part of that profitability, and I think a lot of the sort of point of sale systems or a lot of the sort of existing platforms really struggle to actually take into account, because it's the biggest variable, the actual real-time cost of the wages. Did you find a way to overcome that at all?
Yeah, so look, there's a lot of great software out there. One thing that my mindset going into that was that I'm gonna just integrate with one of these softwares. One where there was a place that I didn't find any solution for, nothing was out there, was that I wanted the wages calculated down to the minutes when people clock in. Not after we have approved the shifts and everything is calculated, but today I haven't looked at all the timesheets. People have been clocking in, clocking out. I want to know how much money, to the best estimate to the minute, I have spent. So that wasn't out there. So for that reason, I had to start coding my own rostering system. So that was, so I built the scheduling system. And I was like, I need this. This was very important for me. So I said, I need to build a scheduling system, and it is evolving. I'm adding new features to it as we go. So as we go along, it can compete with the softwares that are more established, you know. But features are coming. I'm constantly adding to it, getting feedback from the users, and then sort of adding on top of it. And that's always been my philosophy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A friend of mine sort of used these words lately, who said, an app is never finished. So it sounds like it's certainly a bit of a work in progress. But the funny thing is, you spent about a year working on Novez within an organisation. We won't talk about who the organisation is. You went into a little battle to make sure that you retained the intellectual property of what you built, and you owned all the code and everything. But then the hospitality sector, as we all know, has completely, died in the arse, so to speak, and as a result of COVID-19. And, people are not looking to invest really at all into new infrastructure. So
correct. Yes.
Basically taken this project of a year, put it on hibernation as well, and built a completely new app, which you've just launched, called Woofly. So what is Woofly?
Okay, so this was a very interesting one. Like this idea also came to me before COVID-19, and I was thinking that, look, there is talking to the people, and I could basically just every idea is like, okay, where is it that someone is struggling with on a daily basis? One of the ones that I found was, my girlfriend. She was always feeling guilty that she's not taking her dog for enough walks. She couldn't find time for it. And when she was doing it, she was like, oh, I need to get this done. I haven't done it. I feel guilty. When am I going to find time to do this day or the next day? So I said, okay, that seems like a place that people are struggling with. And I had a look, and there are apps that do this, but they're primarily focusing on doggy daycare or when they're going on vacation. They're not focusing on the dog walking feature, which is something that, you go on vacation once and you do a haircut for your dog once every few months, but the dog walking happens very frequently. And there were features that I thought that would be so cool, but it wasn't being done in Australia. I couldn't download it. I couldn't find an app that does it that way. So I said, it would be so cool if when my dog is being taken for a walk, I can see where he is. I can get photos of it live. I can see the location. That's the most important thing. I can see where they are. When they come back, I can see how far my dog has walked, how long it's been, and the booking needed to be simple. What I found in the existing apps that are right now in Australia, all the dog walkers are setting the different rates. It becomes confusing. You're trying to find the best rate or the most trusted one. It becomes confusing. There's no unified rate to charge the customer. So you get confused, and I checked the user interface. They were a little bit too spammy, so many things popping up, complicated. So my aim is to fix that. So you just jump on, say, I want someone who is trusted, take my dog for a walk, and you get people in your local area to say, hey, I'm available, and you accept one, or you just get the first person, it's just sort of like simple, I want someone to take me for my dog for a walk, they're trusted because they're highly rated by everyone around, and they're the first person who accepted. So if I want my dog walked in 15 minutes, my ideal scenario is that I could have that, I can have someone in 15 minutes to come take my dog for a walk. Yeah, that was the idea. So I started coding this, took around 2 months, on and off, and I was doing the other stuff, but it took around 2 months, and the app is ready, launching website, just sort of advertising it, getting dog walkers, sort of in that process, very early stages, but, but the functionalities are very cool. So I'm proud of that, but, just getting the user base now. Yeah.
So it's definitely recommended for anyone that has a dog to get on there and check out this app, and especially anyone who does have a lot of downtime at the moment, loves going on walks, loves dogs.
Yes.
You can earn a few extra bucks as a bit of a side hustle. I think that's really cool as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how are you going to launch Woofly? What are your sort of ideas for launching Woofly? I mean, I saw you sort of post LinkedIn lately. Have you got a strategy for launch?
Look, I basically, in the beginning, I just did like a post in all my social medias, just sort of go, just with a bang, like a video. I made a video, just sort of short video explaining what it does, put it out there, saw the response. I said, okay, the response is not bad. A lot of people saying that they're interested in these, or, they see the need. Then my next step was, okay, I'm going to start advertising it on Instagram, Facebook. So I just played around with like finding the right target market for it. And I've had a very good response with people who want to become dog walkers, dog owners. I think it's going to take a little bit longer, because when they log in, you want to see dog walkers around you. And right now everyone's at home. So until there's still people I can see that they're logging on, they're requesting walks, but I think the real demand is going to come after everyone goes back to work. So the COVID-19 has affected this, but I think after COVID-19, once it's dying down, I'm going to start upping the advertising on that part to sort of get awareness to it and get people to sign up and get walker. But a sort of strategy for me always been trial error, build, test, and then sort of learn from that testing based on users' feedback, and then try again. It's always been,
So
keep it simple.
Would you say that you're also quite good at marketing? Do you know how to market a new product like this? Because, what I normally find is, especially people in the tech sector or creative minds who are really great with code, is they know bugger all about then launching and marketing a product. So what you said before, you're going to advertise. How are you going to, what are you?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't say I'm good at marketing. I wouldn't, I would, I say it's something that I have to learn right now. Okay. As I go along. I would not say I'm your expert guy in SEOs, or I'm the expert guy just putting the right Facebook ads, but I have to learn. It's very early stages. So the only one who I can afford to get to do marketing for me is me. So I have to stay dedicated and put content out every day. And just sort of see how it goes. Like getting a good response, especially on Instagram, is pretty good. Like, but and the number of signups for users to become dog walkers, like with every day, it's been 2 weeks, but every day I'm getting 12 to sometimes 18 people a day creating accounts. I would say 75% of them apply to become dog walkers. And the rest sort of, it's a funnel, just sort of like a lot of people see the post, like lower number, download the app, and then sort of some create an account, or and then at the end the goal is for people to request for a dog walker in the app, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But with when it comes to finding dog walkers, like it's New South Wales is doing really great for me, you know. But that's the only place that I've targeted it now, you know. I haven't gone to other states yet, which I will do soon, because it's not going to be a difficult task, because you can just target ads and get dog walkers, and then move forward to the rest of them, you know. But now a lot of part of my morning is just going through all the application for the dog walkers and selecting the right people. But yeah, it's just creating, and then learning from what I've done, for now. But I will have to learn more, and I find myself looking at, like, you know, trying to learn more about marketing and just upping my skill in that area. And then just hopefully down the line I'll be able to get someone to help me who's really good at that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and so, you know, talking about, I guess, about a fairly early stage product that, I mean, it sounds like you're getting quite a good amount of users per day from an onboarding perspective. That sounds like quite a lot of users. But what do you sort of, how did you come up with the cost model in terms of being able to monetize the app? And where did you
Yep.
sort of do market research with, you know, some of the other apps that exist out there? How did you sort of come up with a cost model, and do you think it's going to be profitable for you?
Good question. Look, I've had a look at other apps and see what they charge the customers, what percentage they get, and sort of, and it's just something that I'm still playing with, you know, with the costs. And I've made it clear that I'm gonna be like a sort of in my terms when people sign up, like I'm still these are subject to change, because I have to see what the dog walkers are happy with, and at the same time what the dog owners are happy to pay. And because I have made it that the app sort of creates a unified cost currently for all users, it's something that I have to consider. I have to trial and error, and I talk to the dog walkers, and I talk to people who are potential customers who sign up, and I ask them, what do you think? And I look at all the apps, and I look at what they have to offer and what percentage they get. Currently, they all get more percentage than I do, but I feel like for me to establish this app and just get people to try it, I have to do this, you know. There is a couple of things that I really want to continue providing, which is the first walk for free, you know, for up to a certain amount of time frame. I want to provide this first experience that you have with the app for free, so you can try the app really without having to worry, did I waste my money on it, and then come back. But I want to make sure the experience is so good through the app, through the people that I choose to become dog walkers, that they do come back. And I believe, you know, that free walk, hopefully, and I'm, you know, just still have to measure numbers, but I feel like that after some time, after repeated requests, it will have a return. And as far as financing right now, it's just me investing in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the hard part. You know, it's okay. I have
when you say investing,
I have this idea.
When you say investing in it, you mean investing your time, or are you also investing financially as well?
As well as money. You know, as far as developing it, it didn't cost me any money. It cost me time. But I have to get the right terms and conditions in place. I have to get a proper lawyer to draft these things for me, because it's not like quite, it has to be something specified. I have to have an agreement with the dog walkers in place, have a terms and conditions and privacy policy for the dog owners and dog walkers. So I had to, you know, one of the things that I had to spend money on was a proper lawyer to sit down and I talk to what my needs are, where my liabilities stand, you know, what sort of insurance I need to provide, and them having to, and that's an investment. Another investment is advertisements, those free walks, when the first free walk is also an investment. And in the beginning, you might have a lot of people get the free walk, and then you sort of have to make a return on that, So it's just me investing time and money. But that's the hard part, you have an idea. The second thing is, okay, am I willing to invest 2 months of my time on this, to see if it works. Okay. And the last one is, am I willing to invest, some money on it, so that's another thing. If you're not a developer, developing an app like this might be very costly, if you want a polished app.
You're sort of segueing into actually, the question that I think is on my mind and perhaps other people's minds is, what does it take in terms of time, in terms of investment, and what are the sorts of questions you should ask yourself before you decide whether an app is going to be viable? There's all these sorts of feasibility studies that you can really do. Obviously you come from a background of probably using your own intuition as well. If someone is thinking of, if someone like me who goes, oh, I've got this great idea for an app, has no background or experience in app development or marketing or really has any idea, but just thinks at face value this could benefit people. What's the best thing they should do? Do they get in touch with someone like you? Do they what are some great questions they should be asking first of all to say, hey, this may be viable and it's worthwhile pursuing and going to the next step?
There's a couple of things I would advise. First, do the research, see what's out there. And we're living in a sort of world right now that a lot of the ideas that you think of, there's going to be something similar out there to it. You just have to decide how much of an advantage I'm going to have compared to the other ones. This is not the first, for me, I thought this is not the first pet care service that is out there, but I looked into the other ones. There's a few in Australia. I said, okay, this one is doing this well, but it's missing the mark on here. This one is doing the other thing well, is missing marking here. I said, I think I have a shot in here, and I talked to people, random people who not my friends, who have no incentive to give me nice compliments on my idea, so if it's and I heard some people saying, no, it's not gonna do anything. A lot of people said, I think this is gonna be great, let me know when you do it. So, and these are people who are in the pet care field, who told me, okay, when it's done, let me know. And these guys actually became the first dog walkers that signed up with the app. But going back to that, first of all, yes, have a bit of a consultation with someone who you know, or talk to them about the costs, how much the app itself is going to cost you. Do a little bit of research, even if you're not a developer. Do a bit of research in the technology, okay? Because one of the reasons why I could launch one app in App Store or Google Play was that I use the technology that I can code it once and use it in both places. It will cost me double time and double money if I were to choose a separate kind of technology, okay? So that's also very important. Make sure you get someone who chooses the right technology, the most efficient way and scalable way.
Because I have to say that, it sounds like a really fast time to develop an app for one person. You either have, a really great area of expertise, or maybe the technology is advanced to a point where it is a little bit easier these days. I mean, if you would have paid a third-party app developer to develop what you have, how much would you have expected to pay them for your app?
I'm gonna go by. I did develop apps, and I believe I charge a reasonable amount. There was an app that I developed for a transport company. This is a logistics company. Okay, just an example. I mean, just keep it in the sort of real terms. And I did my research. I was like, okay, how much I'm going to I want to keep these guys happy, but it's gonna take 3 months of my time. And there was a lot of complexity in the project. Basically these guys didn't have a clear, it was the data was coming from a third party software, made it a little bit complex. But they wanted everything in this app. They wanted everyone to be able to see where the shipments are, and these are big value shipments. Okay. And for that, like, and it cost, I spent 3 months full time on this, like, and I'm working long hours a day. You were looking at something probably, by the way, with a caveat, like here, I'm talking about a developer in here doing it for you, you're looking at $20,000. Obviously, you could give it someone to do it for you somewhere else. Like, you give someone overseas to do it. There is a caveat to that. It's not just getting the app out there, it's how maintainable the app is. Can I build on top of this easily? Or is this going to come bite me back? Okay. So how clean the code is, how scalable the technology is. I'm really lucky that, for example, I'm going to give you a little bit of quick introduction to app development because
hang on. Have you danced around, Reza? Have you danced around the number that you
Oh, no, I haven't. Look, $20,000, I think, for an app like this. Okay. To have it as polished as this, $20,000, I would say nothing more. But if you choose someone who does it, like, you could get it done overseas for a lot cheaper. But first of all, not that, like, it could be someone who is very articulate and they can meet your demands, but not having that in-person meeting. So talking about, you have to discuss ideas. A lot of things are going to come up and you're going to say, okay, I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about how this part of the interaction in the app is going to be. If you haven't thought about, if you haven't made an app, you might run into a lot of things that might, a lot of problems that might come, even as an owner. Someone comes to you with a question: what is going to happen? Are we going to get people to sign up this way or this way? Or what is going to happen? Like, a lot of the things, I had to sketch out a lot of things, because just designing that user experience, that flow. Okay, I come to here, I see my users. How do I book an app? How do I make it so it's easy? These things are the things that, when you have the initial idea, you might not think it through. Okay. And the questions might come to you later down the line. Okay. So these things will affect the time frame, will affect the cost of the app. But having someone to work with you in person will have a great advantage. You could send, and some great people, you can send it way cheaper. The labor in Australia is more expensive. Developers in Australia are more expensive. You give it overseas, might do a decent job, the good code base, but you need to find a good channel to revise all the changes that need to be made. I strongly advise, if you want to have an idea, get the person who is going to develop it to be involved, more than just, I'm gonna pay you this much money and you do it for me and give it back. Because it's very important how, as you're developing, it's just about how much I'm looking in the future. What's gonna happen when I have more than 2,000, 3,000 users? How I'm gonna structure my servers and stuff. So it's scalability is a very important question. So if you have someone who's involved, it's very great.
Something that really, you said something when we were sort of, talking about the idea of doing this interview that really resonated with me, which was that, it's really, if you are going to decide to work together with somebody, you want to make sure that they've sort of had one failure before, or one attempt at an idea, or, some sort of experience in trying to build an app. Because, that experience is really, really valuable. And I think you sort of referenced Silicon Valley, and how no one over there takes you seriously unless you've sort of had a few failed point of sale systems. Or
Yeah.
I really like that. You just seem so passionate about, and certainly very knowledgeable about, and practical about building apps. So, in terms of if someone has an idea for an app, and they say, "Hey, I don't just want to pay someone. I want you to be a stakeholder." Are you prepared to, look at that? What do they need to do? And you're prepared to have that conversation, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Yes, exactly. Prepared to have that conversation. A couple of things that exactly what I said is that I think I want the person who I'm involved to understand that things may not work as good for a while. It's gonna be tough. Even if you have a great idea, it might take a while for it to scale. Everyone talks about the Ubers and the Googles and the Apples. Even then, they went through some rough and tough times. I'm not saying that, just as from my experience, it's just about, you have to even enjoy those times, when you're struggling. Just the process is very important. The process is, if you can enjoy the process, and what I said to you before was as well, I'm passionate about software development, but I also need to be passionate about the software that I am developing, the people who I'm developing it for. I liked hospitality. That's why I made an app in hospitality. I love dogs, so I could, the cause was that I'm going to build an app that's going to be successful. It's going to be about dogs, and I'm hopefully going to have enough money to donate to shelters. That was my motivation. But it has to be something that you're really passionate about, because if you're serious about it, you're going to spend a lot of time on it. So you have to enjoy it. So that's.
Yeah. So, well, look, Reza, I just can't thank you enough for your time. I think what I'll do is I'll post a link to the app down below. And if you have a dog, or if you just love going on walks, most definitely go and check out the app. It's really, really cool. I thought it was fantastic. And we're actually, well, our dog passed away late last year, but we're actually going to pick up a new family member in a couple of weeks, which is exciting.
That's good.
Most definitely get in touch. I'll also post your details down below too, Reza. So
sure.
If anyone wants to reach out to Reza, flick him an email, check out his app. And Reza, again, thanks so much for your contribution.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you.
Good luck.
It was great. It was great. It was great talking to you.
Good. You too.
Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Vision Business Community, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye.